Hello, we're back. This is going to be signature 1 for page 1. And I've kind of pre-assembled this a little bit. Let's talk about the panel first. This is out of your 12 by 12 collection. This is measuring 8.5 by 8 1/4. Now, I thought I could get away with 8.5. So this will be the only one I will measure to that. The rest of them are going to be probably closer to 8 5/8. And the reason for that is I am trying to, and I didn't do it very well in the first signature, I'm trying to hide these edges here, and I want to stay as close to these top and bottom margins as possible. So this one I'd already pre-cut. So most of them, unless you're told otherwise, this will be the last one at 8.5 in the height. Now, I took this card and I'm putting a card in here, and I've made a slot. And when I made the slot, I did not pay attention to, I wonder if I could fix this. No, I didn't pay attention to my height, and it's a little off skew. So for you, you are going to come up 1 1/4, and you're going to come down 1 1/4, and then that's where we're going to set this. You're going to come in 1/2 inch, and then you're going to score it long enough to fit this. This is at 6 inches, so you're probably going to need to want to bring it in around 6 1/8 so that you can slide this in. It is 4.5 inches wide with a 1/2 inch score mark. I put tape on the underside, and I am going to just slide this. I don't want that hole being any bigger than it needs to be, because then it becomes very obvious. Okay, got it in there. Big deep breath, Charlie. Big deep breath. It's kind of hung up. I'm trying to move it so I can put this where it's supposed to be. There we go. Like I said, I don't want to make the hole any bigger than necessary, just big enough to get this in there. Now I am going to keep this from flaking out when it opens and closes on the other side, I'm going to run a little bit of tape here to keep this in place, so that then when this opens, this is opening up. All right, ta-da, I think I got it done. On this as well, I put a little rub-on down here. It's the rabbit with the clock, and I just wanted something here to break this up a little bit. This is the card that I'm using for the outside to give it some color and some luster. Then when you open this up on the inside, I am putting, this is from my scraps, and it's a little bit longer, and you'll understand this when we get to some of the other pieces. So don't be in a hurry to cut this yet, but you can go ahead and get this and this put together. But this came from my scraps, and then I'm using this card. It's 2 cards. It's the flamingo, and then it says yesterday. So I've got the Mad Hatter's hat, and I've got the floral bud. I want to put them right here. So this piece from my scraps is not large enough to really frame in any closer, but I'm okay with that because I kind of like this look anyway. So this is what I'm going to do to the underside, but you'll attach all of this after we get through some of the main cuts. But it's okay to get this put on. Now, the other thing I need to do is, because I don't want this flapping like crazy, is I'm going to put a small, very small magnet here, and I'm going to secure it to the back side. I'm just going to put that right there, and then I'm going to close this. There it is. Okay, so that keeps that closed. And I'm going to go ahead and put this one down. Now you can use whatever card you want. And as I build this, if I'm doing something that just doesn't agree with you, don't do it. It's pretty simple. It's your album. Those are all my notes. All right, so we're going to just stop there for now. I'm going to come back and finish this when we've got our pieces cut so that you can finish it. But what my intent is here is that you're going to have a journaling card so that you can journal maybe a story about the photos that you're putting here. All right? So let's make some panels. I've got to kind of keep things together so I know where everything is. Your left side panel obviously is going to be 8.5 inches tall, but it is going to be 5 1/4 inches wide. You're going to score it at 1/2, and then you're going to score it at 5/8. And it's going to come in right here, and you're going to place your paper right along that 1/2 inch score line. And I'm not real excited about, I want to keep that. Because I want to cover that back up until I'm done messing around with it. Push back a little bit on that 5/8 score mark, and let's remind it that it has a job to do. Now, your next panel is going to measure at 9 inches, and you're going to score it at 1/2 inch. Now, I'm rounding my corners, so what happens is that this, did I round the wrong corner? I think I did. This is going to mount, no I didn't, I did it the right way. This is going to mount in here on this side. So this is 9 inches, and it is 4 5/8 across. And I am going to mount this on the inside rather than flap it over. I'm going to mount it like so. And then this is going to be your upper flap where you can put photos. Now, I need to figure out what I'm going to do with my magnet placement before we do anything further. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the right side. We're building a pocket. I'm taking all my pieces apart here. All right, the right side panel, the one that's going to open, is at 5 3/8 with a 1/2 inch score line and a 5/8 of an inch score line. And that's going to come and tuck right in here. But before we do that, I want to get my pocket on. So, and I did not burnish that. Look at those big old bubbles. So this is going to measure, should measure it at 9.5 inches. And then you're going to score it at a 1/2 inch on each end. Fold it over and we're going to mount it from the inside. And I'd already rounded my corners, so I've got to make sure I've got them going in the right direction. And I've cut this so that this pocket would just come to maybe 1/16 of an inch away from that other gusset line, score line. Now, the pocket piece is going to measure at 4 5/8 by 8 inches, so that this little guy slides in here nice and easy. So we'll come back and finish this, but that's what we're going to do. So let's get this guy on. And again, we're going to bring this right up to that 1/2 inch score line. Push back on that gusset, reminding it has a job. All right, this is the side I want up. So I am going to dig out my magnets wherever they are. I've got this, oh, look at that. Those broke when they snapped together. And they're sharp little boogers. Okay, let's try and not cause any more damage. Now I need to put a piece of paper between these two. And then I'm going to come in here and I'm gonna I should be okay. Come in about 3/4 of an inch. Made that too big. And then I'm going to close this, and the glue should help mark where that magnet's going to go. Wow, I questioned myself on that. Look how close I came. I've got to move. So if I move this in here, it pulls it farther back here. Okay. I made a mess here. So I want to pull this in here a little bit. I hate getting that close to the edge. And I hope I have enough room. I did not calculate that very well. Ah, better, I'm back here. Okay. I don't believe I did that. I had to take it off. It needs to be here. Otherwise the flap okay. I'm not worried about this glue. I'm covering it up here shortly. But because of this flap, by putting it here, I wasn't keeping this closed. And look how close I am to that edge. These magnets are strong enough. I can pull that back away from there a little bit so I can get my paper to cover it. Okay. All right, I want to cover this, so I'm going to do this side first. Out of your 12 by 12, you're going to grab this sheet. Back side is gold. And you're going to cut to fit a piece that's going to come in here on this panel like so. Now, my piece is at 4 5/8 of an inch. I just like to see a little bit of black around the edges. I don't like seeing big gobs. And sometimes I get off because all the time I'm eyeballing it. I never measure for myself. Let's go ahead and grab some tape. If I was to measure every single piece of paper, I don't think I would be doing this, because that is just a lot of time on a ruler and on a paper trimmer. So I just like to eyeball things. It just moves things along for me. So if this is your first go around with me on a video, I will refer to it as cut to fit. You're going to cut it and fit it to what you want to see. If you want to see a larger border, then that's what you're going to cut to fit to. If you don't want to see any border, then that's what you're going to cut to fit to. Little bit of overhang there. All right, now let's close this up. I feel good now because I don't have to worry about those magnets. From your 12 by 12 collection, you're going to find the piece that has Alice, and then there is the White Rabbit, and then there is the Queen with Alice and the Flamingo. Now so you're going to cut this right along this line to the left of these two images. And then I went in and I cut them out, mounted them, and I'm popping them up off the page a little bit. Again, if I'm doing something that you don't want to do, don't do it. If you want to just leave these fully intact, by all means. Then from the ephemera, I have this beautiful floral spray. I'm trying to decide which way I want to put this. There's putting the black rose on the top and what looks like the underside. I like it this way better. Putting the black rose on the top, and it's just going to sit kind of right there in the middle. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get this glued in place. And then I'm going to put these back into place, just so there's some depth. I didn't have it far enough up. There we go. And then this is just going to pop right back into place. And then we are going to add this little ephemera piece. Now let's come back to this. You should have this card. It's one of the front side of the note card. I trimmed all the black off, and then I'm framing it in with some black cardstock. I need to square this up just a smidgen, not by much, but just a smidgen. All right, so then what I've done is I've taken some 1/8 inch tape and I've gone around the perimeter. I'm going to make this as a pocket on the front of this. And I wanted my magnets in place so that when this closes, it's not closing on top of this, creating additional issues. So this is just going to drop right here, equally spaced from left to right, and I'm up about 1 inch. So then here's our pocket. And that will close, no interference with the magnet. Now let's get back to this side. Okay. We are going to go play again in the 12 by 12 patterns. You're going to find the 12 by 12 pattern that is this white hearts on the red background, and on the back side of it again is Alice. And we're going to center that right in here, and I think I'm going to trim that up just a smidgen more. There's and it's going to come and sit just like this. Now, out of the scraps, I've cut 1/2-inch strips that are going to go in up here at the top and one down here at the bottom. And then this is going to center in between the two spaces. I do need to corner round. And I'm going to set one first. So remember, these are 1/2-inch, and you're going to cut to fit on the width by what you want to see. I'm just coming in just a little hair here. And then this one is should rest right about there. And let me corner punch this one real quick. And then this one's going to come in up here, and then I'm going to evenly space in between the two. And I hope you don't mind, I need to pull this down here towards me just a little bit. Okay. And like I said, this is just going to center. There's going to be a black gap in between, but that is my intention. Okay, so this is done. And I want to put a red heart down, a red rose down here in this bottom corner. Overlapping the two pieces. Okay. Now, let's work on this piece right here. Again, to your 12 by 12s. I think these were... Okay, I think that one's going to go up there. I have a misfit here. Hold on. These are going to go with this. Let me fold this over. So this piece, and then these, I didn't cut a couple of these big enough. Oh, I have enough to do it. So this is going to go in up here. I need to corner around both of these because I've rounded both of those. This piece here, when I trimmed it out at 7 1/4 inches. And these being 1/2-inch strips. down here. And then this should fit right in between the two. Interesting. Interesting. I need to trim this just a smidgen. It happens. About 1/16 of an inch. Oh, beautiful. There we go. Some nice contrast. And then I need to recut my strips because I think what I had left over here, I'm like I said, I made several of these at a time, and I think I used what was left over from the cut. Okay, so I want this trim to be right about there. So let me measure. So this is going to be 3/4. You're going to make 2 3/4 inch strips. There's one. There's 2. So this piece here is at 7 inches. So I want 3/4 of an inch, top to bottom. So let me just set that in there. And I will set this in here. And then I'm going to put this in here. Yeah, I wanted a little bit of a gap, and I don't have enough to recut those, so I'm going to trim this down. Might be easier for me if I went ahead and put one of them in, so I'm not working with 2 moving pieces. And I did round the corner. And this will hide the 1/2 inch seam that we built right there. And I'm going to go ahead and put this bottom one in to create some stability in my placement here. Set this in here. I'm just a fraction of an inch. Now let's see what do I need to do here. Not by much. It looks like 1/16. I'll give you this final measurement here in just a second. So my piece finally ended up at about 6 7/8 of an inch. And I am going to tape this piece in. Because I got my magnet right there. Okay. Just covers that magnet. All right, Twiddledee and Twiddledum. We're going to put them down here, and then we're going to take one of these hearts. They're both out of the ephemeris. We're going to put a heart up here. We're going to put Twiddledee and Twiddledum down here. I am going to secure from their knees down so that this can act as a tuck. Just come down here, put them in, and then we're going to put the heart in up here at the top. Okay, so this side is done. Now you should have the pieces, oh maybe not, no you don't, not yet. Not yet. Ta-da! Let's go over to this side. All right. Oh, for crying out loud. I get so annoyed with this. Get over there. Okay. All right. This is from the 12 by 12. And on the reverse side are the big, beautiful black roses. But I'm going to use the smaller side. So this piece here, we're going to cut a piece that's going to go in the center, trying to keep with the same theme. But from the larger heart trimmings, is where you're going to cut. These are going to be 1 inch. And then I think I'm going to put them down, and then I can give you the measurement here for this guy. And once you make these trims, then you'll have what you need, the scrap, to finish that inside card. So a lot of these strips are coming out of the scraps once we've cut larger pieces. So you should not be digging into large pieces just to make these small pieces. I do want to trim this just a hair. It's really hard for me to get exacts when I'm working with moving pieces. until I can actually get into the video and start putting things together. So there's always this little extra trim. Okay, and then this is going to come right here in the center. Now, if you want to use the big side, go ahead, but I just felt it was a little much. I loved the softer approach of this side here. We'll get to play with the big black roses eventually, but right now, this piece, I ended up at 6 1/4 inches, and I'm just spacing about 1/16 of an inch between these two pieces here. Okay. Now let's go ahead and put this in. Now it doesn't matter if you want to use the big rose side. It actually looks quite striking. So I'm going to use the big rose side so that it kind of changes up the pace a little bit here. But again, this is just a scrap piece, and I'm just using the size. I'm not going to fuss about the fact that I've got a big black border. In fact, it actually looks quite nice against this black and white. And then the journaling card. With the Mad Hatter on the top, and we're just going to center that right in there. Okay, and then you have all this space here for putting in photos, journal, tell the story about them. All right, now this little guy here. Using the softer side or the bolder side is entirely your choice. I am going to stay with the softer side. But first, I'm taking some of the ribbon that I put on the front of the album. I'm going to make a tag. See, that strip fell off, and this is sticking to the glass. And then I'm just going to kind of fold that just a little bit. It doesn't have to be very big, just enough so you can get a hold of it and or see it. Now I will eventually cover both sides, but for now I'm just going to cover one side. I want to make sure that I've got enough paper to work the album, and then if I've got any extras, then I'll come back in and I'll cover the reverse side of the flaps. Until then, I don't want this sticking and creating a problem. It's easier for me to do this than to waste a bunch of undo. This will slide. Come on. Right in there. And then you got the tag. We've got our pocket. Okay, let's put some tape on the back of this and let's get it in the album. Let me grab a roll that's got enough to do the job. All right, let's grab that album and let's get this stuff put in there. I'm capping off my glue because it wants to dry. All right, so this is going to come in here and it's going to sit like so. And I'm going to bring this gusseted edge right up to the edge of the paper. It's almost hard to see trying to place black against black. Snag that tape. I can get this out of there. There we go. Now I will turn it around. I've got a tape overhang right here, so before I commit the tape, I'm going to tuck that in. Now when I put this last strip of tape down, I'm going to make sure that my gusset is standing up the way it's supposed to be by gently pushing back on it, and then I'll lay that down. Okay. All right, so there we have it. Then we've got our pull up for a photo up here. Got your card, you got your photos. And there we have it. So we'll be back here shortly for the next signature. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.